Here's three things that we learned from Man United's dreadful performance against Crystal Palace. Now, one of the reasons why Crystal Palace was so easily able to unlock our defense was their effective use of their wingbacks. What happened was these wingbacks would often get high up the pitch, and our wingers were not specifically told whether to track them back or not. You could often see Anthony and Garnacho lingering around their wide centre backs and pressing their wide centre backs, but not necessarily tracking back on Crystal Palace's wide wing backs. And what this meant was, in a position like this, Wan-Bissaka has no idea whether to go and mark Munoz or Elise, and Dallo won't know whether to mark Eze or Mitchell. And our midfield line was quite high. So if Ericsson were to come back and help out, he would often have to be on the back foot in order to track back on Elise, and same with Mainu on Eze. So if Dallo and Wan-Bissaka decided to go out and press on the wing backs, Elise and Eze would be able to find themselves in pockets of space where they're being unmarked. As if these guys got the ball, they would see that the midfielders would have to end up chasing them, or the centre backs would have to step out of position in order to challenge. And we saw that on the first goal. Wan-Bissaka is so far out wide because I think he's covering for the wing back. And after Casemiro makes that rash tackle, Mainu and Ericsson are both found chasing Elise. And Johnny Evans is the last man in defence, who is reluctant to step out and block a shot. With Eze and Elise playing such inverted roles, such free roles, they are able to cause such carnage as no one knows who to pick them up. So what would have been the right way to defend against this? Well, you could simply ask the wingers to man mark their fullbacks. And you would make sure that our two holding midfielders and our fullbacks are completely aware at all times who is responsible for picking up the inverted wingers of Crystal Palace. Teams that play with very high and attacking wingbacks are always very hard to defend against, but this is schoolboy stuff that should have been covered in sessions involving tactics leading up to this game. Now, the second thing that I feel like we can learn, not just from today but this whole season, is that our ability to play out from the back has clearly declined from last year. Now, in the very first few games of the season, we saw a very weird structure from Ten Hag, with one of the centre backs playing in the midfield, one of the full backs playing at centre back, and something really weird from goal kicks in order to help us play out. I don't think it worked, but even still, with this changed way of playing out from the back, we still don't know how to. And if you watch this game, every time we tried to string a few passes together, we'd end up just going back to the Onana or someone, and we'd always just end up booting it long into Hoyland, who would just get out-muscled. And you have to pose a serious question. Why have we signed a so-called ball-playing goalkeeper if we still don't know how to play out from the back? People to criticise David De Gea in last year's FA Cup final for continuously booting the ball up the pitch, yet we're doing the exact same thing with Onana. I don't think there's been a moment all season where we've seen a fantastic way of playing out from the back that has led to a massive goal scoring opportunity. And yes, obviously we do have injuries, and that is clearly one of the biggest reasons why this season has been so awful. We do miss players like Martinez, Varane and Lindelof, who are all very capable ball-playing centre-backs. But Casemiro is a midfielder, and Johnny Evans does have some ability on the ball. I just think that the way the team is organised and the positions that players take up doesn't allow us to progress the ball well. And again, this has to go back to what we're doing in tactical sessions before games. Now, the third and final thing that I want to talk about is Casemiro and his future at this club. Now, over the last few weeks, I think that sometimes playing at centre back, he's actually done a decent job overall. But in every game, there's been a moment or two where he's just done something reckless that's led to a goal. People need to understand that this is a characteristic of Casemiro that has been evident throughout his whole career. Even last season, when he was so amazing at Man United, he's just simply too reckless to be a centre back. Both this season and last season, and throughout his time at Real Madrid, he's known for putting in outrageous tackles. And sometimes they can be really, really good, but other times he misses the ball quite often. And again, this was prevalent last season when he was arguably our best player. The problem is you can't do this as a centre back, because if he goes in for the tackle and he misses the ball, there's going to be no cover for him behind him. And again, we saw that on the first goal. Now, do I think that we should move him on at the end of the season? No. I think that he's won too much in his career, and we do need some sort of experience and people who know how to win trophies in this team. We keep letting go all the players who have accomplished something in their career. If we let go of Casemiro and Varane, we're going to end up with a team where people have won one FA Cup, one or two Carabao Cups, and a Europa League. That's not a good enough career for people who should be playing at Man United. We need people who know how to win. Now, in the next coming games, if we still do not have a fit centre back, I would definitely be looking to play Amrabat in that role, and then maybe moving Casemiro further forward to help add more balance to our midfield. I think it's definitely still too early to write this guy off, but I still do think it's too much of a risk to keep playing him at centre back, especially since we've got Arsenal coming up against us this weekend. There's not much else I can say, so let's quickly go over some player ratings. Anana has to be a 3. I don't see why we signed this guy over David De Gea. Dallo a 5, not our worst player, but no one had a good game today. Casemiro a 2. What was he doing in that game? He's clearly not a centre back, he's just too reckless for it. Johnny Evans a 3, got done too many times. Wan-Bissaka a 4, very poor game from him today. Mainu a 5, looked really burnt out. I think he needs a break. Ericsson a 5, couldn't produce today. Mason Mount a 4. I don't know why we signed him. Anthony probably give him a 5. He didn't get any service today in the first half. Garnacho a 5. Couldn't really produce anything. And Hoyland a 5 again. No service. I'd say that Amrabat was probably our best player. I'd probably give him a 6. And the same for Ahmad and Wheatley. They didn't have enough time to do anything. Now the big question on everyone's mind is whether we should keep Ten Hag or sack him. And my verdict is that I cannot give you an answer. There have been so many decisions he's made that I've disagreed with, like the selling of Ronaldo and De Gea in particular, and the signings like Onana and Mason Mount. But the thing is, I don't know any other manager that can come in and deal with the players that we have right now. This squad is about halfway through Erik Ten Hag's plan. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done to these players. And I simply don't know if anyone else can come in and somehow miraculously fix this squad. Remember that Arsenal gave Arteta a good few years even after some very terrible seasons. I think we just have to wait this one out with Ten Hag and just maybe hopefully in a couple of years we can start performing better. But I understand that as of right now, things do not look good, and a lot of the decisions that Ten Hag has made have really backfired on him. I think for the club to make a move forward, we need to let go of some big name players. I'm talking Marcus Rashford, maybe Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire's, those sort of players who have been here at the club for very long. I think it's time to say goodbye to them. We just need a complete reshape of our identity.